So, have you been hearing about all the budget cuts on the government level? I've been hearing that too, whether it be the Education Department, Department of Human Services, Department of Defense, and there's a few more. That's the main ones. Criminal Justice Department. We hear all of these cuts, right? And all the noise. Guess what? There's still money out there. Hey, I'm Cathy, and I want to take the time to kind of go through one of the popular grant platforms that's on the federal government side. Sometimes we forget that you have city, you have state, you have counties, you have parishes, you have districts, and there's probably some other breakdowns that I haven't gone over. But we, the people, are considered the government. Do you remember that long, long time ago? Am I the only one that old enough to remember the song about how to create a bill? So that brings me back to the beautiful big bill, the big beautiful bill, something like that, right? So anyway, I talked about that on another video. Trying to bring out the positive so you won't get so distracted. I need my nonprofit leaders not to get distracted. One of the things as a nonprofit leader, we have to separate ourselves from the victims, right? And be the one who gets the resources. So every time you hear about a disaster, guess what? There's usually going to be a need. So there's more money there all over the world actually. But for the sake of what I do, we talk about the United States of America. So let's just go right on into it and share my screen. I know you guys get tired of me talking about software, but okay, I'm trying something different. It's okay. At least I'm getting this video out here. Alright, let's see. Did I just get rid of it? Oh no, there we go. Okay, so here we go. So one of the things I also want to let you all know, let's see if I can get a login right quick here. And maybe you can see a little bit more. Alright, so this probably looks familiar if anyone has their 501c3. Right, okay, so let's go here and I'm going to show you all. So this is home page. They've revised it over the past year, but it still looks basically the same if you have looked at it before. Let me explain. We talk about compliance too before you even get to this part, and I'm going to say majority of you small nonprofits have just started, and even maybe some of the medium size, you're not going to have the capacity to do most of these grants. That's why it's important to do healthy collaborations and partnerships in order to participate and get a portion of the grants to carry out the part that you'll be doing with another partner. It could be another nonprofit, sometimes it's a for-profit, it depends on the situation. We're going to go over all of that so you can see the eligibility. But you need to make sure that you already are up to date with your determination letter, the IRS determination letter. I always say that. You just got to keep that for the life of the organization. Thank goodness now everything is on file and you can find it. As a matter of fact, I found my own back in the 90s, long time ago. But okay, so I digress. Whew. Okay, determination letter you need to have. You need to make sure that you're update on filing your 990s, and you need your state filings. It's also done annually, right? And everything needs to match. And then for some of the states, you have what's called charitable solicitations. Please don't get caught not have filed that and you're getting money or you're getting donations. Okay, another conversation. I talk about that enough. And then of course you want an EIN number that matches, has none for your non-profit, not your for-profit, which you changed to a non-profit but never did change the EIN number, you know. So none of that. We want to be legal and compliant. Then we come here and we actually go to sam.gov and you sign up there. Keep in mind, you do not own this nonprofit organization. So do not put owner, do not put minorities, certified, none of that stuff, because you don't own the nonprofit organization. All right. Can y'all tell I'm really passionate about this? If you only knew why, it's like so many people will ask me this same question. So many people will not believe me and do it wrong, and then somebody from the government reaches out to them, or not. You just don't get your applications approved. That's all that means. Once you go through the process of sam.gov, again, we're not doing that for today. Then we're able to go in this platform, grants.gov. Most of the grants are going to be on the federal level, but some of the grants will show, I call it following the money. Sometimes this is what I'll do. Let me take a little intermission here and explain what I'm saying. You have certain veteran grants that might be federal. It comes through federal government, right? Now, depending upon how much and what's going on with your state, there's a certain amount they might request. So you might see that your state has won a particular grant. And then it should be posted inside of your state platform, or sometimes it's in your county. And you can apply there as a smaller nonprofit organization. Or sometimes you still don't have capacity, you're going to collaborate with another organization, but you literally can follow the money. The money it's a process. When you hear this got approved, billions of dollars or millions of dollars got approved in a certain category, right? Then it still has to sometime trickle down. It's going to be distributed through either the state or the counties or the cities. Yes, it can be complicated, but if you have these systems in place and you're following them and you're reading your emails, then you will know, and you use your calendar. How do you know how to do all that? So glad you asked, but we'll talk about it later in the video. Okay, so let's go through grants.gov. I go here, and guess what, you guys? I do offer a free grant writing class, but I need you all to quit wasting money. Quit wasting money. Quit wasting money. A lot of times you're paying for things to accelerate and to skip the bumps of things, right? But education and information is all out there. So they have their own stuff out here, how to do it. It even has grant fraud, grant reporting, grant careers. I'm reading it upside, bottom to top. Grant programs, grant systems, grant making agencies, grant terminology, grant eligibility, grant policies, grant 101. Okay, it's a lot, right? So that's why I just break down and pull out the things that are most important, and we can move forward. But if you're just a little nerd like me, hey, go for it. But let's go to grants, okay? They claim they have a simpler search. We're not going to go through that. We're going to go through the classic search. That's what I'm used to doing. And what I'm going to do, you see over here, opportunity status. Forecasted. What do you think forecasted mean? Think about the weather. We forecast the weather. So I don't want those right now. That's too much for my brain. Unless I'm following a specific grant, then I'll look at forecasted. So when it becomes live, guess what? You get notification. All right, we don't want closed. Again, if I'm, contracted as a grant writer, I'm looking for certain things. I can see what has closed and sometime follow it for when it's going to open for the following year. But I want posted, okay? You see instrument type, I'm going to go for grants. They have cooperative agreements. We're not going to talk about that. They have other, and then they have procurement contracts. Let's keep it moving. Notice what I said? I wasn't lying. See these townships? I didn't even mention townships. Parishes is what I said. Counties. What else? Even they separate native tribe. There's nonprofits with 501c3 other than the, like, universities can be, a lot of times there's private ones that are 501c3, and nonprofits that do not have 501c3 status. And then you got private institutions, higher education, public state control, all of that, right? So for the sake of, I'm going to show you what I mean. Let's just do this. Let's say this one, okay? And then we have categories. All these are departments of the government. Department of Agriculture, Department of the Arts, Business and Commerce, Community Development, Consumer Protection, Education, Employment, Labor and Training, Environment, Food, Nutrition, Health. See how many in health? 449 just happen to be a nurse still. And a lot of the research hospitals use these grants. Humanities, Income, Social Security Services, Law, Justice, and Legal Services, Natural Resources, Opportunity Zone Benefits. All right, you get my point, okay? Science and Technology, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just going to say all. And then that was the categories. And then the agencies are here, which they kind of sync, what do you call it? I don't know. They're synonymous or kind of synchronous to the particular departments. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. And so you got Department of Commerce, I mentioned that, Education, Energy, blah, blah, blah. Going on down to Department of Labor, all Department of State. There's a lot. There's a lot. You don't even need a lot of money when you're first starting out. Okay, so let's see. In the beginning, I'm not going to do any keyword searches. And I'm going to keep it on descending. Here we go. And as I said, they have international grants as well. If you notice over here, these are the close dates. See my little cursor? When it was posted, like they're only given a month. That's only 2 months, right? Sometimes people say, oh, the grants are only at the end of the year and now they're trying to give them out, da 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 da. A lot of times it has to do with what's going on in our world and what's going on in our states. So, like I said, there's a lot of disasters, or if crime rates are up among youth, or there's another certain issue, then sometimes money will be flow through that particular pocket of money, I call it, whatever. Opportunity status has been posted. This is the agency, and then you see the opportunity title, and then there's a number always associated with it. Reducing fraud and lowering barriers in the production of drugs and shortage of outsourcing facilities. I'm not going to get into that one, but I understand that, especially being in healthcare. That's a big one right now, still going on to this day. So many avenues and areas. You say, oh, nobody's fighting drug abuse or haven't. Yes, they are. There's so many areas of that, and unless you're one in that mission with that mission, and you're actually fighting that, and you're attending these various, sometimes they are, I forget what they're called. Why is my brain gone? Sometimes there's seminars, but there's another word I'm looking for that you can attend and find out what's actually going on up to date in those areas and who's been a part of fighting it. Look, services for victims of crime. I hear people say, oh, they don't do anything for victims of crime. Let's just go here and see what this is, because this is kind of odd. Department of Justice. I don't know if you saw that. And so notice this right here. Discretionary. When you see discretionary, there's a lot of leeway in that, meaning that the funding source, again, sometimes these grants come up because, when does it close? It closes August 15th. It was updated on the 22nd. So sometimes there's more money going to existing grants. It might have dried up and they're going to open it back up, or something's going on in the world, in the United States, that they're going to add more money to that. Discretionary means that there might be some other areas. They're more open. If you can really show in the proposal something unique, something that shows proof. You definitely want to show proof that it has transitioned. I talk about that all the time. To get grants, it's usually because you have programs, something transitional, that in this case, service for victims of crime. What would be creative that you have that would help victims that have been victims of crime actually, I think of PTSD, that actually healed or able to overcome, or providing some type of extra safety, something like, right? That's not my area. So that's something, if that's your area of domestic violence, then you would have to figure that out. Crime assistance, discretionary grants, cost sharing. This is important. This one is no cost sharing. Sometimes you have to match the amount. It tells you right here, the award ceiling is $500,000, right? They might break that up. Sometimes it'll show you how many grants there are. If not, you want to go with what you need. You can't just go out here and ask for $500,000 if you've never gotten a grant and you just started your nonprofit. That makes no sense. You've not shown that you're even capable of helping a few. right? So, eligible applicants, public housing authorities, Indian housing authorities, Native American, private institutions. Notice the Native American. There are some just for that, and I see that a lot, more and more, and people aren't applying for these things. But that is a problem, especially in certain. We have a tendency to only go by what we see in the news, and we think of Mexicans, right? That's all we think about. When we say Hispanics, a lot of times in America, we just, especially down south, we think of Mexicans, okay? Hispanics doesn't mean just Mexicans, right? When they say illegal immigrants, it doesn't mean just Hispanics. Come on, you guys. Open your mind. Let's not be so narrow-minded, right? But there's certain problems that still exist, and we aren't taking care of the population. That's why you don't chase the money. Special district government, state governments. So here I see nonprofits that do not, but if I see state and county governments, I might look and see who's applying for this. It might be my particular city, my state, or something like that. More than likely that's what it is, in, department. So it says services to child and youth victims, category 2, services to elder victims, and then category 3, services to other crimes. Wow, okay. This is a lot. I might have somebody to share this with. Okay. And then you go to the full announcement. So a lot of times that one platform, grants.gov, that's like inclusive of all. Sometimes you have to go to the platform, like this is actually an office. And see, I've been doing this for a long time, but I'm not in domestic violence. I can't even say just domestic violence, but I didn't realize, because I hear people talk about victims, that they actually have an office for victims of crime. You know what? As a matter of fact, okay, this is, hopefully this is not TMI, but involved in a situation years and years and years ago. So I know they created VINE, which is victim something notification. So if that was, somebody got grant money to actually put that system in place, you guys. Okay, and this, we're talking about 30 years ago. And so I literally signed up for it because, unfortunately, out of 4 children, I have one that's in prison. Hopefully it'll just be another year. But they moved him, just recently moved him. Well, I got that victim notification because no matter where I move, I always keep it in there. Anyway, like if he's in there or somebody I know, I will actually sign up for that. Don't tell nobody. But anyway, that way I know that they are not moving my child without me knowing, right? So his wife actually texted me today, and he's okay. But I had already known that he moved. Thank goodness. So anyway, I was just trying to, let me bring it back to why I said something about it. That was a system put in place over 30 years that they still use. They still improve it, because back then we didn't have the phones. We had the pagers. Yeah, I'm old. They had the pagers, and then it would also, how would I get it? On the pager, and it would call you, right? And you would hear it, because we had started to, when we started to get the cell phones. Yep. I remember it would do both of those, and then text came later. All right, so this is that particular office. Is showing you funding opportunities. Look at here. They got emergency and transitional pet shelter and housing assistance for victims of domestic. Tell me you got to leave your dog and your cat back with you. Tell me that these people have to do that. Now, this is why I'm saying, because I will hear people say, oh, the poor animals, they're going to put them in the shelter. Da, 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 da. They have a transitional pet shelter and housing assistance for victims of domestic violence. So somebody out there pulled some people together and said, we need this. There's a need. And now there's a whole grant just for that. And then here's that grant: services for victims of crime, services for victims of technology facilitated abuse, so that bullying and all that stuff, sexual assault, nurse examiner program. A lot of crime going on in the healthcare field, so it's kind of scary getting back out here. I don't know about your hospital, but where I live, I mean, they have security all over. I mean, we're talking about security with the guns. We're talking about the vests. We're talking about the metal detectors, not just in the front, but all throughout different areas of the hospital. I guess that they found that people could just bypass the front and go into. It's like, wow. So that's where we are here. Okay, I'm not giving feedback right now. I'm talking to you all. So you see what I'm saying? These are all grants. This one ends in... Okay, you get my point. I hope you do. Let's go back over here. Maybe one more, because I think you guys get my point. Let's do this. I'm going to put youth in here. So many things involving them. Because that's our future. I need y'all to quit saying it's hopeless and all that crap. Do something about it. Help them out. Create these programs. Give them things to do. And not that old stuff. We need new stuff. We need stuff up to date. Get them ready for jobs now. Right now the colleges are even behind. Look what pops up. Transitional living program. We didn't even hear of this years ago. It ends in 2 days. So if you're just now seeing this grant, it's too late. But what I would do, if I had any kind of transitional housing program, I would make note of this, sign up for grants.gov, sign up for the notification, so when this comes back out, you'll get notified. Also, you want to notice HHS is, I want to say Human Services, so you want to go to that department, including the one in your city, and make sure you get notification of those grants that come through. That's how you find it. That's why you have to pay the big bucks for the grant writers. And when you're not paying the big bucks and you're complaining that you're not getting anything, that's why. Because they literally spend time. It doesn't even matter that they have platforms to get grants. Sometimes you have to research this way as well. Maternity group home. I know that's something new. That hasn't always been. And I've known that there's major organizations that have fought to actually get funding for these maternity group homes, especially those young people who, what they call, aged out of foster care, so from 18 to 25. You know, I saw something today said 22. Services for victims of crime is there. Women in apprenticeship, non-traditional occupations. That's a big one, you guys. What does that mean? Non-traditional occupations, so construction. Anything that you can think of is considered male-dominated. Guess what? They're trying to give apprenticeships for women. So get more women. So all that noise on DEI and all of that stuff, you guys, come on. There's a shortage of construction workers. So they don't care if you're male or female right now. As a matter of fact, where I work, I see the little pink hats some of them have, and some of them have the regular hats. But there's women out there. Sometimes I don't know it until I see the pink hat. Anyway. Alright, what I want to do is let's go up here to transitional living. Let's check it out. And see who's eligible. So that is Department of Health and Human Services, Administration of Children and Families. What we used to call DFACS. Now they changed it all around. It's children and families, so families and children. Okay. Interesting when you get old, I tell you. Older. Transitional Living Program. It is discretionary. Income Security and Social Services. Transitional Living for Homeless Youth, specifically. See that right there? You guys see this code right here? If you've ever heard me talk about the NTEE code, a lot of times you're applying for grants and you don't have anything to do with this code. If I took care of youth, I'm okay. If I take care of homelessness, I'm okay. But this is why those codes matter. There is a cost sharing, right? I'll have to go deep into it to find out. So you don't just say, I'm not going to go after that grant, because a lot of times if you follow my programs, follow what I say, and you have set up credit and you have set up compliance first, and then credit for your nonprofit, meaning you have a bank account, you're doing some things. If you can show that you can get funding, that you have been approved for funding, a lot of times you can get money to match that. because you should have other resources that are coming in that are going to help pay for whatever the money is for, right? Go with me here. How about those budget cuts? 23, let me show you what I'm reading. 23,434,303. The minimal, which is award floor, is 100,000. Award ceiling is 350. So, right now, from what I'm hearing, that even for housing, there's so many foreclosures. There's a lot of pre-foreclosures and there's a lot of foreclosures going on. So again, quit always listening to the media and go with the facts. Why wouldn't a nonprofit get a house? Maybe we could say in the hood, it doesn't matter, it's already where people live anyway, but get one of those properties that's 100 and something thousand, or maybe you can make a deal and get it for 50,000, I don't know, and then you get a grant like this. It'll pay for the programs that you need or the things that you need within that housing, transitional housing. That seems like a no-brainer to me, but sometimes we make it so hard, and then the award ceiling, the most you can get it is 350,000. So what if I take 100,000? Let me show you all. We'll say it's only 23 million. Let's do this calculator. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yep, that's how I still remember how to do it. Divided by 100. I think I'm doing it the right way. 1, 2, 3. So if everybody got 100,000, 230 organizations could get it. Please understand that everybody's not applying for this money, and they only can get 350,000. Okay. Eligibility: independent school districts. There we go with the Native American tribal governments, special district governments, state governments, nonprofits, city organizations. So sometime again, if you're small, maybe you're not big enough to even need all of it, but say there's already an existing, say we're talking about transitional housing for nonprofit, for youth, and maybe there's already one existing, but you're going to do life skills training, or I don't know, it could be some kind of job training skill or something like that. Yeah, I'm thinking of life skills because there's other things. There's financial literacy that falls under there. There's, how to get a home, how to do all that, right? Maybe that's the part that you're doing. You might only need for a whole year $10,000, because all you're going to do is pay the facilitators, who's only going to come in maybe once a week for an hour or so. How much money could that be? But that's what you need to break down a lot of times to apply for grant funding. Yep. Street outreach. I'm reading down here. Program provides street-based outreach, shelter and comprehensive supportive services to 16 through 21 up to 18 months. And that's why we don't rely on grants, you guys, because usually they're going to have an ending date. You're not always going to get that same grant again. But if you're getting money, and money attracts money, you should be doing fundraising. You should be getting money from other resources, other grants, corporations, all of the things, right? And again, like I said, a lot of times you can go. It's usually going to tell you who to contact if you have any questions, but I really encourage you to read for yourself first before you. Usually there's a package deal. A package that you look at, and this one does not have it. Related documents. It might if I go back there, but it's also telling us. Let me show you. Let me see. Where is it? Here we go. So this gets us to where it is announced. So what would I do? I would go here. And I would, where is it? I would register, you guys. If I'm in that area. I have that mission. I'm looking. I'm doing this just off the rip, just to kind of show you all how it works. Funding opportunities. Usually there's more. Pregnancy prevention programs. Notice it says current as of 2025, then it shows forecasted, posted, closed. So it all depends on, you can't do everything. So there's somebody out here that has been rallying for or has a mission in these areas because there's a need. I'm looking, you guys. So what I'm trying to find on all these government sites, you're going to see where you can sign up for a newsletter, be notified of grants. Yeah. It's somewhere on here. I know it is. I know it is. And remember, when we have federal, you're still going to have a department in your... I can't find it right now. I know it's here. They keep revising and updating these sites, so things don't seem to be where they used to be. But you notice, y'all, here, like runaway and homeless youth, there's 43. Sexual risk avoidance, there's so many grants. And believe it or not, everybody does not have their stuff together to even qualify. So I heard people say, oh, I've been trying to get this grant, but you don't even have your, we'll say, your 501c3 up to date. You haven't filed state filing since 2 years ago. Okay, so this is telling us to, let me show you what it looks like. This is why you pay the big money for the grant writers. And this is why you need to participate. Nobody should be doing these forms alone on your behalf. And then you wonder why you don't get the grants. Or you get the grants and then you can't fill it to, you know, because they're going to talk to you. Now everybody's tired of wasting money and just throwing out the money. So that's why I say quit being distracted. If you're doing the right thing and you're trying to take care of, you know, you have a mission, a strong mission, go ahead and not listen to that noise and keep trying. Yes, it's a numbers game, but believe it or not, a lot of organizations do not qualify, right? And so all these forms have to be filled out. A lot of them are usual and customary. So if you get in the system, you already have them done. It's easy to go ahead and do these forms. Even lobbying form. People don't believe me. Do not lobby. Do not lobby. Do not lobby as a non-profit organization. And if you represent the organization, you have to put a disclaimer out there that so instead of doing all that, people are going to still relate to you as your organization. Stop doing that. Stop. As much as we want to talk about the president, the current president, stop. If you have a non-profit organization, stop. Because there's still money out here. Don't get yourself blackballed. Alrighty. So all these forms, because it's the law, you have to fill these out. Don't have anyone signing them now with the computer. You can tell if, you know, IPN, whatever it is. They'll know where you wrote stuff from. And you guys, just stop. They're really cracking down on all this. You should be signing your own documents. This is very common. They've been doing this for years. Yes, you have to have a budget. Yeah. Okay. I hope you see what I'm talking about. So. Alright, can't figure out how to stop sharing. But I hope you got something out of this. I mean, that was just federal government grants, pretty much. There's so many other areas to get grants. But like I said, your organization should only operate on no more than 30%. Meaning 30% of your revenue should come from grants. No, that should be the top. Because a lot of times, you guys are not maximizing. You are not maximizing fundraisers. You're not maximizing. I'll see people do events and then they'll do the fundraiser later. They need to go together. I'm actually creating a program, a course for how to do that in a simple system. Some of them are free, some of them are very low cost, that you can put in place to have effective fundraising events. That is coming soon. The goal is about 2 weeks to go ahead and launch that. So, all right. I hope you got something out of it. If you're a nonprofit leader, again, we have to stop being distracted. We have to quit listening to the noise. The only noise we should be listening to are the needs of the people. When we hear the needs of the people, we need to find solutions. If we cannot find solutions, a lot of times we have no business trying to just have a nonprofit organization. We don't own it. That's not how we build our legacy unless you have a foundation. That's something different. That means that you are raising money to give money. Other than that, if you have a 501c3 charitable what is it, 501c3 tax exempt nonprofit organization in that specific category, then you're going to have programs, and even if you have giveaways, things like that. But you're taking care of the community, right? We're not just giving money away. That's not the purpose of these kind of organizations. So we have to be innovative. We have to get people together, and we have to use multiple brains together. And sometimes you use the people, utilize the people that are in need, because a lot of times they know what they need and you don't. So talk to y'all later. Peace.